Pele, whose supernatural gifts raised the bar for what was possible on the pitch. He's my first soccer player since I was a kid. I played soccer since I was 3 years old. When I was in Ethiopia, the only thing I did was playing soccer and soccer. When I was 14, I started playing for my city and we won the state league. Later on, I started playing for Cambridge Soccer Club and we won the state league in 2017. I started playing soccer because I grew up with it, but now I play soccer because I meet friends.
My name is John.
Good evening, Cambridge! I am coming to you live from CCTV in Cambridge, Massachusetts, located in between Harvard and MIT campuses. I come to you because I have some things I want to say. I mean, this is the Joe Show. What the Joe Show is a political talk show. I try to get people to call in from that number, located down there at the screen. We broadcast from Mass Ave all the way, the whole city of Cambridge all the way to Somerville. If you're lucky enough to be here, sometimes I'll post the number on my Facebook page and try to get people from various different parts of the country to call in and tell me what's going on in the neck of the woods. But apparently, like the big talks about the abortion bill in Alabama, I mean, it's pretty extreme. It's so extreme that Pat Robertson said it was too much. I mean, when you get Pat Robertson talking about how you need to calm down, that's something else. I have been pointing out the fact that the governor of Alabama is female, and to me personally, it kind of makes the gender thing invalid, because people are already trying to say that it's an all males trying to push, a female, health issue upon them. But, the governor of a state does have the right to veto a bill, and she signed it with her name, I'm not saying, I've been making this argument on Facebook, I'm not, standing and declaring that, all males are right or anything like that. I'm saying that there are some good males, we're all not Donald Trump, we're all not Bill Clinton, there are some good guys out there, there are some good guys out there who just want to do good for the sake of doing good, and that's something that I've advocated on my show, There are people out there who actually want to do good for the sake of doing good, not to the benefit that, it would not to the sake that it would benefit them in some way, that the sake that mainly it would benefit the community, I am a practicing Catholic. I have been a practicing Catholic since age 15. I was raised Baptist, and my father was raised Catholic. My mother was a practicing Baptist, and I swayed towards Catholicism due in a large part to my alternative school teacher. I got into a lot of trouble in middle school. And actually spent 4 years in alternative school, locked in the box thanks to the Cleveland County, Board of Education trying to re-educate me into being a better, citizen or student or whatever, and apparently it never worked. And so I literally spent 8th grade through my junior year in alternative school, locked in a box. Having that said, I have this saying of making friends in the most unlikely places, and I made friends with the alternative school teacher who happened to be Catholic, and I came to him one day and I was like, what is it like to practice Catholicism? He was like, you know what? Screw it. I go to Mass in Millsboro, Kentucky, and if you want to go to Mass with me, you're welcome to come. And since then, I've been a practicing Catholic. Having that said, this is, going on saying that, all Catholics are conservative. Not all Catholics are conservative. A large majority of Catholics are liberal. And liberal thought and understanding that, a woman has the right, they have the right to make the decisions about, reproductive, decisions. I've had some girlfriends, I like the ladies, with all due respect, I'm not saying that all my romantic relationships have been good, but I have learned something from them. I've never been to the stage to where I've gotten any of them, pregnant. That would be a hard decision to make. It'd be a hard choice to do. It is. It's a really hard choice to make. And I would hope that, that all choices and decisions are weighed upon and thought about deeply. And this is what I think about when people say abortion. People say that, does a woman have a right to the choices of her body? Yes, she does, I don't know how else to say it. I've never been in that position. I've never allowed myself to go that far. To me, there's a line in the sand, and you don't cross that line for whatever reason. But this goes above and beyond. It's one of those things. I was talking to somebody before the show started. And they was like, what's the South like? I love the South. I was raised in the South. I was born in Kentucky and raised in the great state of Tennessee. That's why I ran in Tennessee's 2nd Congressional District, because I wanted to represent them. And I knew that, if we got something good going on, we can get people working again. We can build Tennessee's middle class. We can build the middle class throughout America. However, that being said, there's people down there who have fundamental ideas and fundamental beliefs that, that are so simplistic that, you're like, it's not as simple as it seems to be, and that's the way life is. Life is not simple as much as we want it to be simple. A woman does have a right to, to her own health decisions. And I've been urging and pushing people to, follow these petitions. Because they're free. That's one of the ways the founding fathers seen to stop corruption was the fact that we could file these, petitions, and we can do all the paperwork and go through all these, all the stuff, and we can run. The average person can run for a public office. I have learned on my time on Earth is that there's a difference between a politician and a public servant. A politician looks at the stats, he looks at the voting and all that stuff. A public servant goes above and beyond. A public servant tries to actually help others. Do we need that in office? Yes, we do. We are going through the era of Trump. Hopefully it's not an era. Hopefully it's just 4 years. I dislike Trump. Even Charlie Baker. Charlie Baker, who's the governor of Massachusetts, his campaign manager is apparently pumping money into Mayor Pete's campaign in order to get him elected into office. So hopefully that works. Hopefully that comes to something. Hopefully, Mayor Pete gets up there. I'm not exactly as optimistic for Mayor Pete. I like him. However, this is the big however. The main focus is the working class, no matter how you see that. The person may work at like the Ford factory in Detroit, Michigan. They may work at a Walmart in Knoxville, Tennessee. They may work, on a public works project in Birmingham, Alabama. They may be a police officer in Oakland, California. However, you need to find some middle ground. There have been some people, for lack of a better word, bad-mouthing others. That's the best way to say it. They've been bad-mouthing them. Saying that we don't need centralists. However, that's kind of the way a democracy works. Is that you find middle ground somewhere and that people come together no matter what the gender is. Even if they don't identify as a gender. There's some people who are non-binary, as my Aunt Gretchen would say in the Follett, Tennessee. There are some people who may have darker skin than others. There are some people who practice at the Church of Satanists. There are some who are Hindus. There are some who are Wiccans. There are some who are Methodists. However, they find that middle ground. We say, okay, I understand. To me, the middle ground is the workers. When you're able to, identify with the workers of America, and I've seen this. I've seen this with my own eyes when I was working at a animal shelter in Rutherford County, Tennessee. That the workers will always come together somehow. The workers always seem to, find a connection there. To me, Joe Biden is the best bet on who's going to win the Democratic nominee for the President of the United States. Not to the fact that, he served in the Senate for so long. Not to the fact that, he was Obama's vice president. But to the fact that he can, go to the middle ground. And the middle ground is where it's at, He understands that, Boston is mainly, urban. New York is mainly urban. Chicago is mainly urban. Los Angeles is mainly urban. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania is mainly urban. However, rural Alabama rural Tennessee, rural South and North Carolina are mainly rural. And when you get into those rural areas, it's all about the job. Nobody cares about like the quality of job. Nobody cares that you basically file papers all day long. However, you show up to work, you do your job, you get your paycheck. That's what work is. And that's mainly what it is, A lot of people have taken it too far. A lot of people are trying to explain Marxism to people. Some people are trying to explain socialism to people. To me, it's all about the basic worker. The person who shows up, puts 8 hours in. Sometimes it's beyond 8 hours. Sometimes it's 12. Sometimes it's 16. Sometimes who knows, Because that's what it's all about. That's what it should be all about. That's what America is all about, It's the basic average worker. No matter what you think your job is, no matter, what it is, you come in, you show up, and you do your job. And that's who Joe Biden, appeals to. Nobody really gets Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is out in the left field. Excuse me. There's like 23 Democratic primaries, 23 Democratic primary presidential hopefuls. God bless them all. Because you do. You have a right. You have a right as an American citizen to, go to the office, wherever that is. If it's Nashville, if it's Boston, if it's Cambridge, if it's Harrogate, Tennessee, if it's Birmingham, Alabama, Charlotte, North Carolina, to get that paperwork. You have that right. The founding fathers said you had that right. The soldiers who died on the battlefield in Normandy during the D-Day invasion said you had that right. The people who invaded the soldiers who invaded Kuwait during get the Desert Storm said you have that right to get that paperwork and file it. And you do, and that's something I've been trying to push on my show as well. That as long as you can basically read and basically understand basic management skills, you have that right to go and get that paperwork, file it, and see what happens. Maybe you appeal to like 75% of of the state or the rim or the county or whatever. You do have that right. And that's the thing we're trying to deal with in our country right now, Is, we throw the word corruption around so much, it's absolutely meaningless. The founding fathers knew what corruption is because they had to live under King George III, And they said one way to prevent corruption was the fact that you had so many people from various different backgrounds and various different walks of life trying to get in these high offices, And that's what it should be. That's what our country is. To me, our country, America, is a melting pot of various different cultures from various different colors, various cultures, various different lands, various different religions. And that's what it should represent. Apparently we're having this existential crisis between, the understanding that so many white Christian Protestant males are running for these public offices. I don't know. I mean, maybe they're the only ones that are actually stepping forth. Maybe we need more people stepping forth, When I mean stepping forth, I mean going out to, the places where they have the petitions to where we can grab, you go out to the courthouse and you grab the petitions. You get people to sign it. You get your constituents to sign it. Like, okay, what else? What else does the community need? Maybe the community needs more homeless shelters. Maybe the community needs more soup kitchens. Maybe the community needs more mosques or temples or, or churches or what have you. And that's something that gets very confusing. I don't understand why. Maybe we're just, go to maybe we're just terrified. Maybe, fear in of itself is kind of a power thing, I've never really understand. I've had anxiety. I get anxiety sometimes. I get severe anxiety about stuff, about the unknown. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe we can see how things affect others. And so instead of, shooting for the moon, we end up, shooting for the hemisphere and possibly the sky. Maybe we've become so self-aware of what's going on out there that we feel like we're going to affect others' lives in a negative way. Maybe that's what it is, Maybe we need to not fear, have fear of fear itself, Maybe we need to, really grab life by the cojones and go out there and do it. Maybe that's the problem with our country. Maybe there isn't no great scandal or Russian, hackers. Maybe the fact of our country is the fear and everything else are into us, the American citizen. No matter if you're from Appalachia, no matter if you're from, West Coast California, no matter if you're from Seattle, or, South or North Carolina or Alabama or, Texas or Louisiana or Minnesota, maybe that's where the real corruption is that we get hesitant and we have this, existential crisis and, we scare ourselves off, Maybe that's what it is, Maybe, we're close to it. We're close to like the American dream to what it's supposed to be. Maybe we need to, take a deep breath and say, you know what, fuck it. We can do it, because if we take, I've seen it, if we take that step forward, that little step forward, people will follow us. And it happens. You set off a chain effect of people following you, if you like it or not. They do. I mean, they, chase after you, It's like all of a sudden they have like the, the drive to do it, They have the bravery, the courage, the stamina to do it, And maybe that's what we need to do as a country, is somehow say, you know what, yesterday was alright, but tomorrow I'm going to make it better because I'm going to suck it up and take it on. And that's what we need. Apparently, like, Donald Trump lives in this idea, this world, that, yesterday was better than today or tomorrow. Yesterday already happened. We need to really suck it up, tighten up, and just go for it. That's what we need to do as a country, just tighten up and go for it. Because most of the country that voted for Donald Trump sees, they think like, things that happened in the 40s and the 50s are, the way America should be. They got this understanding or this ideology that, things that happened so long ago that, the past, I'm like the generation of the Xers. I'm an Xer. The generation of like the 1980s, was awesome, which it wasn't, that was the generation of the yuppies. That was the generation of Ronald Reagan. That was the generation of the, the Bush seniors. No, what we need to do is really suck it up and drive forward, you know? And somehow, if we get to the understanding that that there's some great goal out there that we can achieve, there's some great, frontier that we need to climb, there's some, moon that we need to land on, there's some planet we need to colonize, we can do it, we can do it as people. Maybe that's what it is. We need some great goal out there that, we see and we recognize that we can take on, and then maybe we'll get to where, our communities, our communities kind of unite as one, no matter where you're from, no matter if you're from Louisiana or Texas or, Oregon or, Minnesota or whatever, maybe we just need that great frontier that's out there, maybe we need to understand that there's something more out there besides what we see, maybe we need to latch on to the idea that science and understanding and technology is, it's kind of at our fingertips right now. And if we grab it and we latch on to it, we can just take off, We can create, a United Federation of Worlds. We can see if, aliens actually exist out there, But right now, we're kind of stuck where we're stuck. I'm Joe, the Jail Show, y'all. Have a great night.